Lenten Lunchtime Lesson by Father Andrew of the Society of the Divine Compassion. The Thursday after Ash Wednesday. Outlook, inlook, and uplook. The three words, outlook, inlook, and uplook, may stand for three energies that must play their part all throughout our lives if we are living as believing Christians. The outlook depends upon the person who looks out. If we can imagine an intelligent cow considering the good things that life might bring, a meadow and a pond would wholly content her. There are some people who seem to have no outlook at all, or only that kind of animal desire that would think of things solely as they contribute to the present pleasure. There are again those whose outlook is wholly wrong, vindictive, pessimistic, gloomy. It is true also that one's outlook may be changed, and that it may become full of hope and glorious expectation. At the beginning of his ministry, our Lord was led into the wilderness. The suggestions of temptation came to him. It was suggested that bodily comfort might be the dominant thought, that spectacular appeal might attract people into his kingdom, and that a successful career was an essential consideration. But the outlook of his sacred humanity could only be the way of the will of God. Comfort, success, and failure must all be banished from his mind. His outlook must be completely vocational, that he might do the Father's will and finish his work. His saints have followed in his steps. With sore travail, many a one has brought the power to accept life as a vocation. To that end, they have mortified the flesh to keep it silent. They have sought the solitude of complete detachment, that their vision might be not blurred by distracting influences. St. Paul says, "Let a man examine himself, and so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup." There must be an inlook on self. Our self-examination will depend upon the standard by which we examine ourselves. If an artist only wants to make a living by his art, he must just paint what people will buy, and his standard will be the popular taste. Some great artists have really died for their faith, and many have died poor because they would not lower their standard. The Christian standard is nothing less than the pattern which has been set before him as revealed by the life of his incarnate Lord. His inlook will be the comparison of his outlook and life with those of Christ. All the while, there must be the uplook to God in prayer. The kingdom of heaven is not something in the future. It is really simultaneous with our life on earth. We have not to try to get to God. He is with us always. We have to become aware of him. That is what the spiritual life is, becoming aware of the presence of God. As that awareness becomes real in a life, the whole outlook is changed. In the story of the two disciples going to Emmaus, their thought about life was complete hopelessness. It seemed to them that virtue was futile, since the best man they had ever known had, they thought, failed to accomplish his mission. But the advent of the mysterious pilgrim and the conversation by the way changed their whole thought of spiritual values, and when in the village hostelry they knew their Lord in the breaking of the bread, his realized presence dispersed the clouds of gloom. Tired as they had been a moment ago, they rose up now, glad and happy, and returned to Jerusalem with a new outlook which was never to leave them, the outlook of men who saw in life, whatever it brought, a vocation to follow the victorious Christ. For ourselves, let us make up our minds that a gloomy, critical, or selfish outlook on life is wrong. Let us seek our Lord Jesus Christ and strongly call to our minds the sense of vocation. Our outlook on life will then not be a fear of consequences, but a longing to behave loyally in testing circumstances. That we may have a clear vision, we shall constantly have a good inlook to discover any harbored sin that may be obscuring our powers of spiritual vision, and for the sake of both outlook and inlook, we should maintain constantly the uplook of prayer. Prayer is the soul's greatest privilege, its hardest labor, its purest joy. If the uplook is always true, outlook and inlook will be kept secure.